Hi, and welcome to the Flute Talk podcast, where we talk about all things flute, live here on Patreon. What is Patreon? Patreon is a place for fans like you to come and support creators like us. So why not join us over on Patreon and help us continue to make great content? The Flute Talk podcast is also brought to you by the Flute Center of New York. The Flute Center of New York has the world's largest selection of flutes. If you need to buy a flute or piccolo, the Flute Center of New York has you covered. With our code TFC at checkout, you can try up to 3 to 4 flutes for up to 10 days, have an extended 18-month warranty, and free shipping worldwide. So be sure to go to the website flutes4sale.com. So that's flutes4sale.com. Flutesforsale.com. Just be sure to use that code TFC for all those perks, and a little bit of that does go our way. Another sponsor as well, ourselves. We have a store. If you haven't noticed yet, we have a store over at store.theflutechannel.com. We have some shirts and posters and things like that over at Teespring. So you can definitely go there and get some merch, posters, whatever you like that we have, it will be there. You'll probably notice it under our videos. If you're interested, be sure to go to store.theflutechannel.com. That helps us out immensely. So yeah, on with the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Flute Talk podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Amelie.
How's it going, Amelie?
Good, how are you?
Good. It's been a nice long month of June. A lot of practicing, a lot of doing other things and stuff like that, and reading comments. And this month's podcast, we're going to talk a little bit about flute concertos and answer your guys' questions about other things as well. So, yeah, you've been learning a couple concertos. You even played one, a modern concerto with orchestra last year. Yeah. And that was pretty cool. Yeah, that was cool, and that's on the channel as well. But yeah, I was going to ask you, like, what are your favorite concertos? If you can name a couple,
Okay, I really like. I know it's not a real concerto, but the Brandenburg 5.
Okay. Oh yeah.
Because there's flute in it.
Oh, that's true.
It's very nice. And when I was a kid, my parents would listen to the Brandenburg concertos in the car.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, when you drive in the countryside with that in the background.
Bach, yeah.
It feels like freedom.
Yeah, the Bach is pretty good.
Yeah.
That's
so
on our
beautiful.
Yeah, that's on our evolution of flute concerto video.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's the first one, in fact. I think it's one of the first concertos for flute, if you want to say.
It's more like chamber music.
It's chamber music at that time.
In our way of seeing it now,
Mm-hmm.
but they call it a concerto.
Right.
So that. Also, I like pretty much all the Vivaldi concertos for flute, but in particular Il Cardellino.
Mm-hmm.
I really like this
That's a good one.
Kata-kata,
Yeah.
kata-kata.
There's so
That's
many of
very
Vivaldi.
nice.
Yeah, those are fun.
But they're all very beautiful.
And there's so many of them, and I think even there's transcriptions even of the Four Seasons too for flute. So there's a lot of a lot of people do really cool transcriptions. There's even a double concerto for flute and recorder too. That's really good.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that hopefully we'll take a look at eventually. It's really cool.
Yeah. So
yeah, Vivaldi, cool.
Yeah. And then Mozart, obviously flute and harp, especially the second
Mozart,
movement.
harp, yeah.
It's not very original, but it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
And then the G major, I like it too.
Yeah. The by Mozart as well. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the G major is really great. G major and that harp concerto, I guess, are the ones that, although Mozart really didn't seem to like the flute, or whoever he dealt with making these contracts or these
but the flute
things
of back then was not the flute of now.
Right.
I think it was more out of tune. It didn't have as much power
and range.
Didn't have
Yeah,
as much range.
Mm-hmm.
Was a more limited instrument.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why he had ideas that maybe he couldn't.
Right, because it was just before. It
realize.
was just at the tip when Bohm, I don't even know if he was alive right then, but right after he died, maybe 50 years, the flutes started having more options, which was great, And he could have lived 50 years longer. Unfortunately, he died in his 30s, but
35.
yeah, and Bach, I think, lived longer than twice as long as that. I think he lived till 65
or 65.
Yeah,
65,
almost
I
double.
think,
So could have made it there. We could have had a Mozart concerto that had the romantic flute, or whatever. That would have been pretty cool.
And people say that the real father of romanticism is Beethoven. That's what I learned. But if you listen to the Requiem, it's pretty romantic to me. At the end of his life, Mozart is already almost
there. It's true.
A romantic. And there's also string quartet that he wrote that's called, I think it's called Dissonance.
Okay.
It's full of dissonance.
Right.
It sounds like modern music.
Oh,
it's
you guys
crazy.
should listen to that. That should be on YouTube if you should check that out. That's so cool. I think I've heard it once.
I'm like, wow. Imagine if he had lived to a normal age.
Wow. Yeah.
Where he would have gone. Because
Yeah,
like,
totally.
when you think of doing that then, I don't know. It's pretty crazy.
So you went Bach, then Vivaldi, then Mozart. One more.
Yeah.
Let's put one more in there.
Okay. I really like Nielsen.
Nielsen.
Yeah.
Out of all the 20th century, you would put Nielsen on top. You would put Ebert, Cacciatore, all those other ones below Nielsen, huh? You really have that.
I really like Nielsen.
Yeah, Nielsen's a good one.
Because it's very powerful.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have a lot of flutey stuff. I like flutey stuff like chaminade and all those things. I like it. And also I like pleasing the crowd. So I like a crowd pleaser, you know. But I think also Nielsen can be a crowd pleaser too. But I remember when I was maybe 16, 17, I don't know, was the music academy in the summer.
Right.
And I heard a girl play that for the first time. And I was like, what is that? Like, it's very powerful, but it's pretty well written for the flute. You can, like, it's playable.
Yeah, totally.
And it
It's
sounds
fun.
very big, and you can really push your sound. I really like that.
And there's a real character to it and stuff. And I think he wrote stuff like that. Like Nielsen wrote like almost movie-like type of characters in these things. And I think this might have been his last piece, but I'm not wrong. And he died or something.
You're not sure, you mean?
I'm not sure if he died. Like, I know he did die, but I think he died recent, like at that point.
Oh, I don't know.
And I think
didn't
he
know
was,
about that.
yeah.
But like, you know, the beginning's like ta 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 ta, super intense and dramatic, and then and there's a mystery, but also like the character changes completely, a bit like in Mozart in a way where you have characters that come in. I really like that concerto.
That's so cool.
Yeah, and I really loved playing the Etude. I think it's very well written, and
Should we
it's
play
modern
more?
music, but it's not like there's melodies and there's you know,
It should be played
it's
more
pretty
for sure.
accessible.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful. The last movement, the last page is like crazy fast.
Sure.
It all goes to the high D, but it's fun to have a little challenge.
Totally. That's so cool. So yeah, let us know in the comments or during the live chat. This is a live show after all. We do this live every once a month, so be sure to let us know what your favorite concertos are, or what's your favorite concerto. Maybe you only have one.
After I'll be like, oh no, I forgot this
Part
one.
of this one, yeah. Yeah.
Which ones are your favorites?
Oh my gosh. I would have to say like Rodrigo's really good. The Rodrigo Flute Concerto is really
so
good.
beautiful.
I would say that's probably top. This is in no particular order, obviously, but then there's like maybe I don't know. There's a CP Bach Flute Concerto that's very good. That's a very good Flute Concerto.
Oh yeah, it's true.
And then there's also
there's a lot of Baroque and
yeah,
pre-classical.
there's a couple.
Beautiful.
Yeah, there's a couple for sure. I know someone just recently transcribed Mendelssohn Violin Concerto for flute, and it sounds pretty good. I haven't tried it, but I mean, like, it looks good and sounds good.
It's a beautiful concerto.
What else? I will have to put Ebert in there, but like, it's not my favorites, but it's a very good concerto.
Yeah,
a lot of
it's a
people
good
play it. It's cool.
A lot of double tonguing.
Yeah, a lot of that.
If you want to
for
work
sure.
on your double tonguing.
Totally, that's the piece to do it. And then last one, if I had to pick another one, it would maybe be maybe Jolivet Concerto. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Difficult to put together, I think, with orchestra. I've heard it live once in orchestra, and it was pretty cool.
One concerto that I've
by
heard
myself.
once with orchestra that was beautiful, Penderecki.
Oh yeah, Penderecki. Yeah, Penderecki.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Flute Concerto. That's a really, really good Flute Concerto, and recent, very recent.
Yeah.
And he just passed away.
I think so.
Yeah. But yeah, so those are ours. So yeah, those are two good lists. You know, we kind of covered the whole range, but there's so many. Like I looked up last
we
night.
forgot some, I'm sure.
I Wikipedia'd the Flute Concerto list, and like it's incomplete, but man, it's long. There's a lot of stuff, and even on IMSLP too, it's just like an endless list of concertos. Telemann wrote a bunch too. Vivaldi wrote a bunch. You know, all really, really fun to learn.
It's so fun to play with orchestra.
Totally.
I've done it a few times. And
Yeah. There's even small chamber stuff as well
pretty
too
cool.
for small chamber ensembles. Like you can do the
Yeah.
Brandenburg, like those ones.
Yeah.
They're small.
I think
No?
Frank. Franck Martin. Franck Martin.
Yeah, he wrote a ballade.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's concerto, like, yeah.
But there's a string orchestra.
Yeah.
And also, I think there's a version of the Jolivet Chandelinas like that with the string orchestra.
And there's also like Poulenc Sonata. I think Paul got so crazy with that piece that I think he was the one that made it, that arranged it or got it produced to be with orchestra.
Okay.
Yeah, so there is a version out there with orchestra out there.
But I think the Jolivet, it's Jolivet himself.
Yes, Jolivet for sure, but I meant the Poulenc. Yeah, for sure.
I never heard the Poulenc with orchestra.
Oh yeah, I think there's a version on YouTube of Paul, I think, playing and stuff.
Oh,
yeah.
I'll listen to that.
Cool. So yeah, let us know what your concertos are. We'll definitely read them in the comments and all those. So now we're going to get to some questions. And I saw a really great question by the Coffrey. Great name. First question of so leave your questions down below. That would be really great. I'm following you from Italy. I'm a returning flutist in the sense that I started the flute with a private teacher at 12, and about 10 years later, I eventually left. And because of university and then job and kids, I've returned to it because of the quarantine. A lot of people have done that. A lot of people have come and started learning. We get a lot of people telling us, "Oh, I've come back. I'm learning, relearning." Yeah, it's really amazing. The question is, during my flute training years, I've never had any specific technique training in the sense that at the time, my teacher used to make me study etudes and pieces, but I never heard of exercises like harmonics, whistle tones, or others. Excuse me. Now I try to pick up the flute, and I find myself surrounded with a lot of YouTube tutorials about the subjects. Was my teacher mad that he never? That he never introduced these exercises to me? Did they become a thing so recently that it was already out of the system? Or do you think it might be a cultural thing? Maybe in Italy, perhaps somewhere else, teachers follow different paths. And in general, how much space should these exercises have in a practice session? Very cool question.
Very
yeah.
Interesting.
Well, it's been around for a long time.
Yeah. But maybe your teacher didn't see the need for you because maybe your sound was already good. I don't know.
Maybe.
And not every teacher is very thorough on a lot of those things I read in books or I learned.
Okay. I learned most of those types of things in advanced classes, like in master classes, not even from my teachers. I eventually found those things in like master classes.
Because I think sometimes when we teach privately, we kind of like a one person at a time. And I think sometimes we tend to. It's not like a course. Let's say you take a university course and there's a syllabus, and the teacher makes sure that you're going through these different things. But with instruments, we tend to teach a bit more scattered. So maybe sometimes we forget little things with our students.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget some parts of it. Or maybe some people think it's better to, like, let's say you do studies in different keys. You're kind of learning your scales.
Hi, and welcome to the Flute Talk podcast, where we talk about all.
Probably. I don't know. Maybe it was a good way for you to learn. But, like, I think playing harmonics and sound exercises, I don't know how long you practice, but let's say you practice an hour. Maybe you do 10 minutes of that, sound and harmonics and whistle tones, those types of sound exercises, long tones, all that. Then maybe a little 15 minutes of technical exercises.
Right.
And then 10 to 15, I don't know. And then 10 to 15 minutes on a study and the rest on a piece. That could be a good way to get through everything. And like maybe it's better to pick something. Like let's say you're learning EJ1 in Tafanel and Gobert. That's a good technique book,
Right.
Maybe you do one page for a week. Again, it depends on your level. If you're playing it like and you already learned it, or if you're learning it for the first time. But I think it's better to have a smaller goal and really repeat it for a week, and then you're like, okay, now I go to the next one, and then you go back until you get to a certain speed, or So
I would advise you not to feel like you're behind or any of those things. Like those things are very approachable techniques that through a little bit of time you'll have them, and they do help. Harmonics is definitely a good thing to learn and to understand. Like how to kind of use it and change your timbre and make certain things a bit different.
I feel that it helps students a lot with the high register. Like
Mm-hmm.
when students don't really
Yeah.
get the high notes, I make them do harmonics to them, and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, and I'm like, just blow the same way
Yeah.
with the real fingering, and then boom, the high
Yeah.
notes come out. You
Yeah.
know, it's a good way to notice how to do it, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah, there's like a lot of videos out there. Just go with one of them and like maybe learn one of those type techniques for a couple days and move on to the next one. Try not to overlap too much. And I think his last part of the question was like, how much time do you put in? How much time would you put in for those types of extended techniques in practice sessions? A couple minutes, I would say. Like whistle tones, I would do for a minute or two. That's what I
don't
would
do that all the time. Like,
Yeah.
it depends. And
Yeah.
if I have it in a piece because it's contemporary music, I'll practice it.
Yeah.
But if not, you know.
And as a student, like I think,
Like I know some people practice whistle tones for piano in the high register
or harmonic practice and stuff like that. Do you think do you think just like including those types once you learn those techniques, including them in your practicing of pieces and stuff, that could possibly be a way to kind of like utilize them if you need them?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But like I don't think it's necessary to do that every time you practice.
Right.
You know.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I don't think it's necessary to warm up every time you practice.
Right.
Because I think that mentality that I need to warm up like
an hour
before
or
I play.
Yeah.
It can be detrimental in a way because in real life sometimes you don't have that hour.
Yeah.
And if you
So
conditioned
true.
yourself to believe that you need that hour to have a good sound or to be able to play well, if at one point you have to play and you didn't get that time,
like you get stuck in traffic and then you're like,
your
oh,
mind might sabotage yourself.
Totally.
You might sabotage yourself without realizing it because you have this false belief. When if you put all those hours into learning the flute, you probably didn't forget it just because you went to bed and had breakfast, you know?
That's it.
Yeah, so we just have to be careful with those. I think there are days where I try to push myself. There are days where I try to learn repertoire. Sometimes I skip stuff, you know, and I come back to it another day. But I know some people think, no, you have to be super disciplined about. Everyone like has their own thing. But for me, I found that what works best is also to sometimes just take my flute and play and be like, how does it sound today? And adapt faster because sometimes, as I said, I've had days where I had to teach all day and then drive to a concert.
Sure.
And have a few nuts for before the concert and have dinner after because I didn't have time between the dress rehearsal and concert because the dress rehearsal was a bit longer. Sometimes you don't have control over those things.
Right. Yeah. It's true. So hopefully I answered your question a little bit. Sometimes it happens like that. We just go and deep dive into these questions. So if you have some good questions, sometimes it's great to hear us talking about this type of stuff. It's super fun. Yaf or Yeaf wants to know, does a gold lip plate on a silver flute make any difference to sound? Is it worth the extra $200 looking at the Yamaha Allegro? Yeah, Yamaha Allegro. Good flute. Very good flute. The gold stuff is usually like gold stuff. The gold lip plate, I'm sorry, I know is usually used for people who have allergic reactions to silver or to nickel silver or whatever type of plating is there. Gold is a different element, so you'll have different reaction on that. So if you have an allergic reaction, I would definitely get it. But in reality, for tone and anything, I would argue that it doesn't. But yeah, so it's really about like protecting yourself. I know a lot of people who have allergic reactions do get a gold lip plate. I read a comment a couple days ago about allergic reactions to nickel silver on some flutes, especially cheap flutes and stuff like that, or nickel, whatever you want to call it, nickel something else. I forget what the other plating is. But I would put stamps, or there's Yamaha makes a sticker that you can put on the lip plate, is a barrier between the silver and stuff, and is like a grip, so you have less. It minimizes the allergic reaction.
I'm gonna ask a stupid question.
There's no stupid questions.
Let's say you buy a flute and then you realize you have an allergic reaction.
Oh, yes.
Can you get someone to replace that part for you?
Ooh, very costly. It'd be very costly for sure.
You better just buy
something you have else. To be near a maker or send your flute back, and then you're looking at pretty large cost and manpower. It's an inconvenience for the makers usually.
Soldered there, huh?
Yes, everything's soldered. Yeah,
so it's
everything's
complicated
soldered.
to change.
Yeah, you'd have to bring it back to the person. It's not complicated for them, obviously, but it's just hassle, time. Manpower, all those things to kind of do that. But then a lot of flute companies do have a lot of custom, like Yamaha they do have a range of customization. It's and other flute companies too.
Yeah, and sometimes you can just change the head joint.
100%.
Like I did that on my flute.
Yep, exactly.
I had one head joint and then I put another one on there.
There you go.
Kept the body and boom.
Yeah, but I know gold lip plates have been a big topic recently that I've heard a lot of comments on the channel about it, a couple this past month. So hopefully that answers your question. What do we got here? Some people are answering the question for them. That's great. Yeah, you don't have to worry about it too much. Could you just suggest Jimmy Nayakora? Sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Could you suggest the flute model and pricing for a beginner? Well, we have a great video about 3 flutes in the beginner range, right? Or no, isn't 3? No, that's 3 piccolos. But you have Trevor James makes a good budget flute.
Yamaha. Like the 200
series
is usually good.
Finding the prices for it ranges. It depends by where you live. It's different in South America, different in North America. You can go to Flute Center New York. I don't know if Flute Center New York has lower models of Yamaha, like 200, maybe 300 series. Those are about $1,000 new, above 300. But like you can go on eBay and all those things and find the 200 series. But you can also find like a Trevor James flute, which is a great flute. You can find that at the Flute Center in New York. And, you're going to spend over $1,000, but that's going to be your flute for ever. It's almost, as long as you like just want to play for fun and stuff like that, it's a good flute. Like, we're not talking about, doing...
but also, those types of flutes have a good resale value, I guess.
Yes, they do. They do.
So if you want to get to an intermediate or professional model eventually, you can still
totally. That's the great thing about flutes.
As a B flute, so that when your flute is in repair, you have a B flute to practice.
Name brand flutes, I would say, and we never really discussed that, but that's a great viewpoint, is the resale value. Like name brand flutes like Yamaha or any of the flutes that you can find in like on the Flute Center New York's website, those name brands, they have great resale value. Like pretty good. As long as you keep your flute in good shape, you before you sell it, you get it overhauled. You're looking at very, very good resale value for sure.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And so if you're going to the Flute Center of New York, you can use our code TFC.
Yep.
And it helps us out, and also it gives you some extra perks like longer warranty. You can try more flutes, all those things, and a lot of people have been using our code, and thanks so much to everyone who's been using it.
It definitely helps out a lot. And they have everybody that works there is a flutist, so whoever you call or talk to by email, they know what they're talking about. They have a new build. They're in a new place now, bigger, with way more stuff, even sheet music too now there's sheet music there, which I think you can also use our code TFC to get, I think, 10% off. But I'm not sure, but that will be all in the details in the show notes. But yeah, so hopefully that answers your question. Was that the question? Yeah, for beginner. So, there's a lot of beginner, if you're like, I'm going to want to learn the flute. Like, I'm going to learn it, not just, I'm just going to try it, instead of just trying. Like, if you're really devoted, Yamaha, Trevor James,
if you
Powell,
just want to try,
all those companies.
Get a super cheap flute.
You can get a super cheap flute. A lot of people just want to, you can go on Amazon and get that there.
But the thing is, like, if it doesn't...
Yeah, when it opens, it doesn't play, then...
If it doesn't play very well, you might get discouraged because of the flute. It's
exactly. I find that
it's you, but it's the flute. But some of them play well. Like,
we've
got one that was totally fine.
Totally.
We gave it to a friend.
The piccolo, though.
She was happy.
It was a piccolo, right? Oh, no, the other one. Oh, yeah, the other flute. Right, because we just,
and she was super happy about it, and it did sound pretty good, It's all a question of what you... but if you're a beginner, you should also check our website, musigy.com. And there's our beginner
method as well, too. So pair it with a flute and the method, and you're pretty much golden for a couple months.
And now we're finishing kind of the following method.
That will come in the summer for sure. Summer 2020. There's going to be big method that's going to come out, and that's pretty fun
It's going
too.
to be the follow-up on the beginner one.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And we thanks so
It
much for
brings you to a good
yes, it does.
level,
Yeah,
you know?
a good level.
Yeah.
So that you can expand on your own a little bit
Yeah.
and be more curious about different styles and stuff.
A lot of people have gotten our method.
Yeah,
It's very
it's amazing.
exciting.
We've sold a lot, and it's all because of you guys. We go directly to you, and all those sales go directly to us, and that's what's really great about it. We've had a great experience with people sending us messages thanking us about the book and also how you teach and stuff, and it's always really fun to see those types of comments, and we really appreciate your not patronage, but your business as well. So yeah. What do we got? We'll do about 2 or 3 more questions. Can you play another instrument? Senna wants to know, can you play another instrument? Or have you ever wanted to play a different instrument? Hello from Turkey. Yay, Turkey.
Well, I play the piano.
Now you play piano. And you
Yeah.
play recorder
Yeah, I play
a
recorder.
little bit. You play a little guitar.
a little bit
different.
of guitar. I want to get better
Yeah.
at guitar, like at least be able to play more chords and be able
Right.
to accompany like little
Little
singing
things,
things. Like
Yeah.
that would be
Yeah.
a goal for this summer.
Yeah.
But
There
yeah,
you go.
I like playing the piano too, and
Mhm.
I've also been thinking of making a piano method.
Mm-hmm.
So I might work on that eventually, and because I've been teaching the piano for almost 20 years.
Mm-hmm. How much, Jimmy wants to know again, how much practice time do you suggest for a beginner? Well, you've taught so many beginners. How much time do you tell them to?
Maybe start with it all depends, because sometimes some beginners, if the flute is not very well balanced, they get tension, and you don't want to get over tense. So maybe at the beginning, if you feel tension, you should take breaks,
Mm-hmm.
and try to figure out how to hold it more comfortably. But I guess about 30 minutes a day, like 5 to 6 days a week,
Mhm.
is like
You're
great.
gonna progress pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then with time, like I have a student who says he practices an hour a day,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows. Like, I'm
Mhm.
like, wow, you're learning so fast.
Mm-hmm. And like you
know?
can cut it down to 15 minutes, but if it's at 15 minutes every day, you're gonna progress.
Yeah.
That just I think maybe keeping a little schedule for it can help.
And like you say, having a goal that's realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes our lifestyle doesn't allow for every day. Maybe it's every other day. And like I have a student who practices maybe 4 times a day, 45 minutes,
Mhm.
4 times a week. I mean,
Wow.
because she has a little bit of pain on her arm, and so she has to skip days, but she's still progressing. So it's everyone,
Mm-hmm.
figuring out like their own way. Because if
Yeah.
you're hurting yourself and then you can't play for 6 months, you're not gonna
Totally.
be better
Mhm.
off. And like you have to be proud of what you did, not just unhappy of what you didn't do. It's a bit the same as oh, I didn't learn that from my teacher. Oh yeah, but you learned it now. So that's cool. And you learn other stuff from your teacher, and so you practice 15 minutes. It's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure
Yeah.
you learned something
Right.
from that 15 minutes.
Exactly.
Like making the best of the time that you have, being aware and
Mm-hmm. Totally. 1 or 2 more questions, guys. Be sure to before we answer these last 1 or 2 questions, be sure to go and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. If you listen to us on the Apple Podcast and you listen to this show via podcast, be sure to go and leave a review. It really, really helps us out. You can also leave us a voicemail over at anchor.fm/flute. Yeah, anchor.fm/flute. And we might play that on the podcast when we get them. And also just be sure to watch our latest videos. We're going to be releasing finally, hopefully tonight, the reviewing your playing videos. So that's going to be coming out. We haven't done one in a while, but this one's going to be pretty fun. And yeah, so I don't know if I missed anything else, but everything's in the show notes for sure. I saw a question about Le Frec, and we get that sometimes, and I'd like to talk about this time. There's a thing called the sound bridges. Super Mommy wants to know, are they worth the cost? Have you ever tried one? I've tried one once a long time ago at a flute convention. They're very expensive. We have not put it on the show because we can't. It's just very expensive, and There isn't any in our area, but I don't personally like using those things. You? Have you tried one?
Never tried one.
Never tried one. So, Lefrec, if you're listening, send us one. We'll see how it is. But I know we had a Woodify a long time ago, which is, I guess, in the same type of ecosystem. I wouldn't say they're the same, and you found that's on a video. You found the results interesting a little bit.
But like, I'd be curious to see a real scientific.
Yeah. Yeah, we can go a deep dive into that.
Without looking, you know,
Yeah.
even the player not knowing, because just knowing that
Yeah.
some, you know,
Yeah.
is it
Mm-hmm. I would love to. It's just, again, they're very expensive. If we ever get enough money to do that for curiosity's sake, then sure. But that's not going to happen.
And
Put a
look at the
frequency
sound
chart. Yeah,
and-
let it go.
yeah.
Everything, like deep dive about those. I know
because
a
it's
university
so easy
did that
with
once.
just the psychology to
Right.
be like, oh, I have a gold flute, so it has to sound better than a silver flute.
Right,
Or,
right.
oh, I have this thing that I paid this much, so
Yeah.
it has to sound better. I'm not saying it doesn't.
No,
I'm just
sure,
saying
sure.
I'd like to see something really objective
Right.
and scientific about it. Maybe it's
Yeah.
been done. I don't know.
I don't know with that device. I was going to self-correct myself because, somebody just donated $50. Holy smokes.
Nice,
Thanks so much.
thanks.
That's amazing. Oh, it's Ascension. Oh, that's so amazing. Thank you so much. That helps tremendously. Oh my gosh, that's great. Oh my gosh, we'll read that in a second. But I just wanted to self-correct was like, I know a university did do a study with the metals of flutes, like gold medal, silver, but not with that device, the Lefrec. But that they have done a study about that, and I just don't know where it is. I'd like to redo that and see if the results, like, I'd like to duplicate that, like reproduce it, replicate. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. I would say save your money, practice a bit more. Maybe get a new head joint instead, because some of those things, some of those Lefrecs are as expensive as head joints. Maybe get a new wooden head joint. I know there's some wooden head joint makers on eBay that make really, really affordable wooden head joints, as long as you give them the right specs.
Yeah. Play like
Baroque music and stuff. Yeah. Cool. Let's read this. Hey, Roxanne, thanks for the super chat. That's amazing. Just want to send my support for all the love, for all the vids that you put up. I'm going to sign up for lessons. Oh, that's cool. Yay. Yeah, lessons soon. That's great. But the more I practice, the more I see my fundamentals need work, like your breathing exercises and my scales and such. Well, yeah, you know, people, you're on your way. You're in your journey, you know. We really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That goes such a long way. Email us. We do have a online studio. You've been teaching almost, I think, everybody right now online. Yeah, everyone online.
Yeah, I don't have in person right now.
Yeah. But if you want to join the studio or take a couple lessons, email us at info@theflutechannel.com, and then we'll get you all squared away with that. And you've been having a lot of fun with that, for sure.
Oh, yeah. I love it. And like people from different places.
Yeah, exactly.
It's cool.
So yeah, you know, I saw one more question about another flute here, and then I think that'll be it for this episode. Kathy wants to know, is the Jupiter 611 flute the same as the Jupiter 1000 flute? I don't know.
If they have different numbers.
If they have different numbers, they should be different. They could have made a remodel change on the number. If the Flute Center of New York has Jupiter models, I'm not sure. You should ask them. If they don't, check on their website first before contacting them, because if it's not there, then they don't. But Flute World might as well. I'm just saying where you can find this information, because I don't have this information on hand. We don't have Jupiter flutes, although I would love to eventually have had a Jupiter alto or Jupiter bass, but I think they don't make the bass anymore. But I think they make an alto. But we should make some alto video. Yeah, I know we have an alto. We have to make an alto video about you playing the alto, because I know bass flute's just so expensive. It's impossible. Like, it's deep in the budget of trying to get that eventually, but those are all fun.
Like, if you rent one, that's like, I remember renting one once that was not super good. It was a bit frustrating. Because like it was not very well maintained.
Yeah. That can be always problematic.
It was for an orchestra.
Right.
I didn't like. I was playing in the orchestra,
so
I guess it was okay, but I was a bit frustrated.
Totally.
So I always thought it would be fun to have my own, but because we could do fun arrangements too.
Oh yeah, totally. That'd be amazing. What do we got here? We'll answer one or two more. Come on, why not? It's a summer. It's summer now. Yes, it is.
Officially.
Officially. DeAndre wants to know, how does mouth moisture impact the sound of your playing? I find that after I take a sip of water, my tone is much better when dry. I guess. Okay. Yeah, because everything's lubricated, It's like you give yourself the right situation when you're breathing. I would agree with that. That happens to me too. Like, I know a lot of people bite their tongue very loosely or bite their cheek to salivate so that they have moisture going on. That's kind of a bit of a weird tip, but but I heard them.
Too much saliva.
You have too much usually? Okay.
Yeah.
When I play, I don't have dryness unless like the room is really, really dry. Like
I
there's
know
air
that some
conditioning and
people,
stuff.
when they're nervous, their mouth gets dry. And I think it happened to me once, and I started thinking about ice cream, and it did the trick.
Ice cream can do it.
Just thinking about it, I sound like I love to eat, so I guess it's
right.
I just thought of it.
Yeah. Totally.
But I don't know. Probably it's better if it's not too dry.
Plus, like if it's
it would be
uncomfortable. Yeah, and then like your tone, you're gonna be thinking about that instead of your tone, and then your tone's gonna. It's gonna not be good. Yeah, I know a lot of people keep a little bottle of water underneath their chair when they're playing and stuff like that. If you're playing in an orchestra,
maybe you need to drink more in general.
Yeah, maybe
if your mouth is too dry in general.
Yeah, always keep that ratio up of a couple cup. I think it's 8 cups a day of water. You gotta drink.
I don't know. Some people say that
it's different.
This thing is not true anymore.
Oh yeah, no, there's a whole water.
Over drinking can put pressure on your kidney and on your heart and all that, because it's more work for your kidneys to always.
You think the soda conglomerate, they're telling people not to drink enough water and instead drink the soda?
I don't think so. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying. Well, it's not a deep conspiracy show.
In general,
Right. Yeah.
If
in general.
Too much, it can also be. But I think drink when you're thirsty, I would say.
Totally.
But
yeah,
I guess some people forget, so it's better to.
Some people forget. It's true.
Yeah. Because if you say 2 liters, but you eat soup versus you eat a sandwich, I guess it's different.
It's different. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
The coffee, he just mentioned a very good thing, a very interesting thing. Some brands assign the same flute, but different model numbers depending on whether they are in the world. And it's true. Yep. In some parts of the world, like I know in Germany, they do a lot of different numberings for their flutes. So
it's the same flute, but just different place in the world.
Yeah, it could be totally.
Like you said, they would know at the Flute Center of New York.
Yeah, or any of those places. Or contact Jupiter. Actually, just go on Jupiter's website or go on Jupiter on Twitter or Facebook if they're on there, or Instagram.
They'll tell you.
Yeah. One more thing. What is this? On the end piece of the flute, do 3 holes or 2 holes affect the sound quality? Well, it adds a note. So we're talking about the C foot, which is 2 keys, and then B foot is 3 keys.
Yeah.
I've found that the C flutes project a little better. I've heard in history of I've heard that people who were doing like a test, like a projection.
We talked about that last month or
something like that. Yeah. So
if the flute's a bit shorter, it's going to
project a bit more.
And even like some flutists have 3 different ones. Like if they play Baroque, that Baroque never goes lower than low D.
Yes.
Then they just stop there.
They have a little mini one key.
And
that's some crazy stuff. But that's really customized, that one.
Oh, it's just like,
I know.
It's not in our budget.
No.
And then they have a C flute for
C is
most of the repertoire.
Yeah.
And when they really need the B foot joint, they have it too.
They use it,
So they have this extra thing.
Yeah, you can go 99%.
To make sure that they project as much as they can.
Yeah.
I just have my B flute joint.
Yeah. But I mean, if you only have a flute as a C, you can still play 99% of everything on the flute. That really, like 98%, it's like so little. And So yeah. I think that's it. Those are all the great questions, and thanks for the super chat. And like I said, you can support us in many different ways. You can go and support us by leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts. That goes a long way if you're listening to us via Apple Podcasts. And also go to musigy.com. That's where our Emily's Flute Method is, where you can learn, if you're a beginner, you can go and check out and buy the 15 beginner lessons for flute. It's right over there in the background if you're watching on YouTube. The book's right there. You can get the physical book or the PDF with all the video files and audio files for that, and you go through all the beginner stuff, and it's really quite great, and we really appreciate everybody's business on that. I said that the same time last time. So you can go to Musogy, so MOMUSOGY.com, so MUSOGY.com. And also, if you want to have lessons with Emily, you can email us at info@theflutechannel.com. So yeah, info@theflutechannel.com, and we'll try to get you squared away like that. Anything else I missed?
I don't think so.
Yeah, so look forward to more videos on the channel. We really appreciate all the questions, comments. Go and watch videos if you've missed any. If you just found us, be sure to check out the backlog. We have a lot of great videos and a lot of great old podcasts. Watch our backlog. All of our backlog is on the channel and also on Apple Podcasts. There's no paywall, so watch all 42 episodes of the Flute Talk podcast, where we deep dive on a lot of things like that. Like this, what we're talking about today.
300 videos, I think, on YouTube.
Oh my gosh, we have so many. All
types of things.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. It's totally a great experience. I think everybody's enjoying it, and we're gonna release some videos this month coming up, and I think we're about to hit 100,000 subscribers here on YouTube in a little bit, hopefully in the next month or so. And then you're gonna do a little concerto drop, and that'll be fun.
Yeah,
we'll do Mozart. And also maybe some other little giveaways. We got a lot of extra flutes that we kind of want to get. Maybe we have an extra piccolo and extra little things here. Maybe we'll do a little giveaway. Plus the plastic flute's still here. And, that was a cool little flute too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everybody, thanks so much. We really appreciate you guys watching and listening. And we will talk to you guys next month, where we do another podcast. And we'll see you in the comments. See ya.
See you.